Stuck in my past, about to relapse. I keep running back to you.
Okay, so King of Fighters came out in 1994.
So, Heavy Fist...
Heavyweight Champ.
Heavyweight Champ was the first, which gave birth to all of the fighters that we have today. But everyone just focuses on the main three that everyone wants to talk shit about, of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken being the core three super fighters everyone wants to talk about, forgetting Soul Calibur, Power Gem, SNK, King of Fighters, Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, Skullgirls, Injustice 1 and 2.
Alright, so let's get to the core. We got Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Tekken.
Those would be the trifecta.
Let's go right there. I mean, we could throw Soul Calibur in there because it was...
And Dead or Alive.
They were the late comers to the game. Well, Dead or Alive is just a sexist take on freaking Tekken. So,
Jiggle physics!
I'm not throwing that one in there because it's obviously the only reason it was made was for horny Japanese men. Anyways.
and horny American men, but...
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be popular here, right?
So anyway. From the trifecta...
How is Mortal Kombat a ripoff? Because Street Fighter's first, right?
Street Fighter is chronologically first.
Then comes Mortal Kombat, then comes Tekken, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one's the ripoff? Because,
again,
I brought this up earlier.
Is the ripoff from Street Fighter because it's just Street Fighter with blood and gore.
Yeah, it was the same concept too, like the side-scroller fighting, the same combos.
Well, but all of those fighting games are side-scroller.
Yeah.
Even Injustice 1 and 2. But getting away from that, what makes it the ripoff? I mean, Mortal Kombat is successful in its own right, but for an entirely different reason than Street Fighter.
It allows people to just unlock their primal instincts in a controlled environment rather than just being like, Hadouken! Every couple of minutes.
So you play Mortal Kombat because of the fatalities, because of the violence and the gore, and more recently now, because of the story. The story is getting really interesting.
Yeah, the story finally stopped shitting the bed after Raiden did that whole reboot of the entire goddamn storyline.
With his freaking medal, he went back in time. Yeah, I remember that. Anyways, and you play Street Fighter for what? You play it for the animation, for one.
No,
not
I
the graphics, but the animation.
Chun-Li's thighs, and now Rainbow MK's thickness.
But I remember playing it. It was for the combos, the animation style, and that's basically it. You know, because I don't even know if there was a story to it. I know they made movies about it.
There is a story.
Yeah.
The main story is just trying to get Shadaloo destroyed and defeat M. Bison for many different reasons, while also having Ryu and Ken try to unlock the whole thing of the Rien Hentatsu. I can't remember the exact fighting style because it's been a while, but it's basically the whole premise is to stop M. Bison and his company of Shadaloo, not really understanding a bunch of the stuff that goes into stopping said company when Balrog becomes head of the company, only to then have M. Bison come back from the dead because he technically had a spiritual form that allowed him to live on forever.
Okay, I personally found Street Fighter so appealing and why I liked it as a kid was because it was the first game where a fighting game where you really could play as a girl. And you could kick the boys' butts. And they weren't in scandalous outfits like in Mortal Kombat, which it was all look, I don't care, you do what you want. But again, I don't mind if you show boobies, whatever. But it's not fighting outfits. At least Cammy, Chun-Li, they had fighting outfits. It wasn't just oh, look at my weird lingerie I'm wearing as a... No, it was...
Now you're getting into Dead or Alive territory.
I mean, in Cammy's defense, she can't keep that ass to herself.
I don't know. I'm not shaming anyone. If you got it, you should flaunt it. But as a little kid, I didn't want to see bouncy lingerie in my face. I want to see Chun-Li in her cool culture outfit, kicking people,
with her sexy ass.
But in Mortal Kombat's defense, not all the women were scantily clad.
That's true.
The main
there was Sonya Blade.
Yes.
Yeah, Sonya. I always played as Sonya.
Who they made her sexier throughout the years.
Yes, they did. They did.
Sonya, when the first game I played as, I really liked.
She was the Chun-Li of Mortal Kombat, basically.
Without the thighs.
Without the thighs. But she did this cool bicycle kick thing that went up at an angle.
I grew to like Cassie too. Like I played in one of the newer ones. I like Cassie Cage too.
Yeah, so but I don't like her selfie fatality.
The selfie one's hilarious.
So it seems like we're talking about Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. We've completely left out Tekken. So I'm guessing Tekken is basically...
That is the other issue, though, because Tekken doesn't really have that much substance compared to the two. It has an interesting story, but comparing it to Mortal Kombat, where it's like gods, devils, time travel.
I was gonna say Tekken seems like the B-movie ripoff.
Dark and light, real. All these sort of fighters, and now a god thanks to Street Fighter V. Tekken, oh yeah, we got a devil named Jin. We have a guy with a tiger head named King. There's this guy that tried to launch his father, his son, and his godson into space by strapping him to a rocket. We also have apparently this guy wrestling bears and some hot girls around somewhere. And
but you know what actually drew me? Okay, so personally, I feel that Tekken is an actual ripoff of Virtua Fighter, which was a Sega game.
True.
Back on Sega, was it Sega Saturn?
I believe it was Sega Saturn.
And the reason I say that is because the fighting mechanics for Tekken were far different from Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. Far different. It wasn't just button mashing. It was in 3D, like Virtua Fighter, which was Sega's version of Tekken before Tekken. Like every button you pushed performed an action, and it was in 3D, so the fighting ring moved. You know, you weren't always in the side scroller mode, or you weren't always in the third person mode. You could kick to the head, and then the camera would turn, and then when you pressed another button, you'd perform another. Like, it was more action based on what buttons you were pushing. You know what I mean? It was very difficult. I hated Virtua Fighter for a very long time because of it, but then I figured out how to play it. It wasn't so bad. But I feel Tekken's more of a ripoff of Virtua Fighter than I do of Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, because it was always in 3D. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now I have to look it up to make sure I'm not spreading lies.
Well, when there's fighting games, there's also, of course, the shooting games. So like Overwatch and Paladins.
Oh god.
Overwatch,
or Battleborn.
Battleborn.
Yeah.
And then there's this other game that they kept showing on. Let's
Virtua Fighter actually came out before SNK did. 1993.
Hold on, guys. You guys keep going.
Okay.
I gotta look up something real quick. You guys keep going.
It was on the Sega Saturn, so we were right about that.
Okay.
Now I gotta look up Tekken. When did Tekken come out?
Okay, now I remember what I was gonna say for an argument. Okay, so from what everyone kept on trying to throw at everyone's face about the whole PUBG Fortnite ripoff event, I have something that I'm gonna raise the stakes on.
Okay.
There was a video game that kept on premiering on Tech TV/G4 before they sold all the rights, where they had this one game that kept premiering all the time called the Unreal Tournament.
Oh god.
Unreal Tournament basically skyrocketed into popularity because it was syndicated on TV so much that so many people wanted to copy the formula for like a team-based shooter game.
You mean Quake, right?
Well, Quake, Unreal Tournament, all these sorts of things of just like multiplayer LAN party games was just syndicated into such a magnanimous way that so many people tried to copy the formula, like PUBG or Fortnite. But not a lot of people try to give it enough credit because it's like, oh, who's gonna remember Unreal Tournament? Is there gonna be some underrated podcast out there that's just gonna magically know this? I doubt that, sir.
Well, what about like first-person shooters? So like
first-person shooters.
Halo and like Destiny and
Battlefield, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
That would have to
It's a
originate to the
genre.
world's first shooter.
It's a genre. Yeah, Doom or no, Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein and Doom are like the most popular choices.
Well, it's Wolfenstein, Doom, and Quake, because Quake was a first-person shooter developed by ID, just like Doom, if I remember right. As a matter of fact, I think ID basically created the first-person shooter.
No, they reimagined and invigorized the first-person shooter market.
They did, because it was Duke Nukem's in there too. I forgot about Duke Nukem. Holy shit. How'd I do that? Can't forget about Duke Nukem.
We forget about a lot of stuff in this podcast, and everyone watching this and hearing this, just know we do remember. We just sometimes don't give a fuck. Anyway.
But I'd like to bring in there the makers of all of those games, those first-person shooters from back then, created the Unreal Engine, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the current engine in every first-person shooter game is the Unreal Engine.
And if everyone wants to throw around the whole thing of rip-offs, just keep coming and going, and there's no real thing of originality, guys, this has been going on for generations.
You can't write a new song without ripping off somebody's original riff from the 40s, 50s, 30s, 20s. You can't do it. That's why it's called a riff.
Same thing with video games, and same thing now, unfortunately, with movies.
Is Heroes of the Storm Blizzard as well?
Yes, it is Blizzard.
Okay, I was gonna say World of Warcraft and Heroes of the Storm, but they're the same company.
There you go. There's a whole other genre of games.
More of a rip-off of League of Legends.
There's a whole nother genre of games we didn't get into. The whole Diablo and Blizzard creating Dungeon Crawler series.
Yeah.
I mean, Blizzard did Diablo and World of Warcraft. So is it really a ripoff?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Which is like a part of why I like horror games and visual novels, because most of them have a unique idea behind it, unless it's like a zombie idea ripoff. So you do games like Outlast versus a game of Resident Evil. Like, they're two totally different. They're still horror, but they're unique ideas. So.
Yes, but now I fear we're getting into with the advent of virtual reality taking off again, like it so mildly did in the 90s, if anybody remembers the freaking...
I hated those things. It made my head hurt.
I do want to play them, don't get me wrong, but it seems like everyone is going that route. There's Resident Evil 7 VR, there's fucking Doom VFR, if you look on Sony Store.
Outlast VR would, like, make me shit my pants. Can you imagine
Star
Outlast
Trek
VR?
Oh,
like, Piggy they're chasing you down the hallway and you have to, like, jump into a vent. And
if they do Dead by Daylight VR...
oh gosh, that'd be terrifying, especially if you're not killer.
Yeah,
it's be like, oh my fucking god! It hurts so bad! I'm sorry, guys. I'm very active right now. Please bear with me.
We don't need to bear with you. We're here with you.
No, not you, our viewers.
Oh. Hi, viewers.
Hi.
But where was I with the deep part of what grind? We've barely had any gears to grind lately. Like, we've grown up past the grinding gears.
We're just discussing now.
Yeah, it's just a discussion now.
What discussions are gears?
You know what, V? That's what we should do for one of our future podcasts. What is pissing us off in the world today?
Oh, that's coming up soon. That's like number 50. We got a few episodes to go. Like, this is installment number 32. We got like 18 to go. But I guess the whole thing of what's truly...
Oh no! I'm sorry. I have to interrupt you, V. I have one bitch. I have one thing that makes me angry.
Oh, good.
Final Fantasy VII Remake has been pushed back to 2019.
Yeah, because people are tired of waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3. That's like having the person of your dreams giving you the world's longest hand job, and it's just like, I'm not going to jizz.
Give me the game. You said it was going to be released January 2018. Now it's January 2019.
Kingdom Hearts. I've watched Ruby play it. I've watched other people play it. I can't get into Kingdom Hearts, and I love Disney. I don't know what it is. I thought I would, and I can't get into it.
I love playing Kingdom Hearts. I love it. I was a fan of RPGs, but I could never get into the whole turn-based system. It pissed me off back in the day.
Turn-based does piss off people a lot. That's why I'm glad for Final Fantasy 15.
Now that I'm older, I kind of appreciate the turn-based. There's strategy. It's all about strategy. Yeah. I wasn't a very strategic kid. I just wanted to swing my fucking sword at things and kill it. And
I was the same.
That's Kingdom Hearts kind of bridged that gap, you know, for me.
Like you could RPGs. Do turn-based? Nah, let's just jump in this bitch with a giant sword key.
Right. Well, and now even the new Final Fantasy Dissidia. Is it Dissidia?
Dissidia wasn't really new. That's
no, there's a new one out now on PS4.
Good.
Yes. And it is
the third Dissidia game.
It's been produced, or it's been made by Square Enix and Namco Bandai.
Fucking Bandai Namco.
And I believe Koei is part of it too, the makers of Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, I like Dynasty Warriors.
We forgot about Dynasty Warrior ripoffs!
So the new Final Fantasy Dissidia is
gave
like
birth to Hyrule Warriors, which gave birth to Fire Emblem Warriors, which
but Hyrule Warriors was made by the same makers of Dynasty Warriors, so it's not technically
gave birth to One Piece Pirate Warriors, which gave birth to Berserk Musou Fighters,
Gundam
Fighters.
But again, that was made by Namco Bandai and Koei Entertainment, so not technically a ripoff.
So many ripoffs in the world we forgot, but
Dynasty Warriors used to be my favorite. There's a new Dynasty Warriors 9 out. Go buy it now, kids.
We're not a shill. We're not paid to say that, guys. Unfortunately, I would like some Bandai Namco money.
I was kidding.
But
that's where actually a part of me really enjoys games based off like animes or like movies, because you can't rip that idea off because it's already copyrighted. So you have like the Dragon Ball Z games. They have like their own unique story, which is to the show. Like with the South Park games are unique to South Park. Like if someone ripped off Fractured Butthole, you would know it was a massive ripoff because how off the wall it was. So I love those games that have those stories that you can't redo.
And you know what I wish for though? Getting off topic, I wish, because Namco Bandai
Namco C.
They do both the Dragon Ball fighting games and the freaking Dynasty Warriors and anyways, I want to see a Dragon Ball Dynasty Warriors style game.
That would be
I want to see Goku with like 1,000 Cybermen in front of him, and then he just pulls out his Kamehameha.
That's the problem, though.
Blows him away.
That's the problem, though, Aaron. To generate those constant mobs and then have the coding for all the things, all the Saiyans, Namekians, Majin-based characters.
Oh, don't you pull that shit on me. They do it in Dynasty Warriors all the time.
Gods of Destructions, angels, humans. With that kind of unique coding, like they've had this thought for even stuff like Persona Dynasty Warriors type games where people could just summon personas to just be battling shadows and whatnot. And it's a hard process coding. Especially with just trying to be like, okay, so just Goku going Ultra Instinct while trying to drop the Spirit Bomb is how many lines of code? And all this.
Well, because if you look at Fighter Z, they kind of do that idea with the clones. Yeah, they're not all in front of you at once, but they do.
It's just a Street Fighter ripoff, Sally.
It is. I know it is. I know.
But it's on a smaller scale of coding, though.
With better animation. Anyway.
I'm a bigger fan of Xenoverse 2 anyway.
I'm actually gonna cut this short. I'm sorry. This is a first for me. It's a very first for me. But before I do that, I want to ask you, since we've been talking about ripoffs this whole time, I want to ask you guys, before I leave, what game did you love, absolutely enjoy back in the day that they no longer make, that you wish that they would make a remaster or a reboot of? I already have mine picked. I had it in my head before I even asked the question.
Sally, you go first.
Super Mario All-Stars. Have like all the old school Mario games and like remaster them. Cause that one was like one of my favorites as a kid.
So like in the style of what Mario Brothers on the Wii U would have been? Just with the updated graphics.
Yeah, exactly.
Same story, but updated graphics.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Or like what they're doing with Final Fantasy VII. They just remake the game, better graphics. How about you,
exactly.
V?
I'm gonna go last.
Okay, mine. Zone of the Enders.
Yo.
I miss Zone of the Enders.
Yo.
That was a Hideo Kojima game.
Yo.
There was 2 of them, and they were both fucking epic in my mind when it came to mech battles and fighting. They took it to it wasn't like Mech Warrior where it was so stiff and you moved and this and that. You could fly around. It was like a Gundam game before Gundam games. I want a new Zone of the Enders.
You and me both. You and me both.
Somebody call Hideo Kojima. Hey, get your rights to your game back.
Oh, he won't do that, baby boy. He busy trying to pimp out stuff with Metal Gear before he gets old and bored. But, while I'm slipping into my pimp voice, what game would I want to have remade and remastered?